Well, good afternoon, Arkansas. Happy sleety, icy, snowy, whatever you want to call it. Tuesday across the Natural State. Chief Forecast Derek and Assistant Chief Forecast Cameron here. Back with you once again as we continue to track our latest winter storm across the Natural State. Again, this one is one of those prolonged events, and this is what I was telling Cameron earlier. This is 2023's version of 21 and 22's January, early February winter storm.
Yeah, so this is what we got. We're going to switch back over to radar for just a little bit. I'm going to kind of show you guys radar real fast, kind of give you guys a little bit of perspective of what's going on right now here. So behind me, this is how it kind of looks outside of our weather center right now here. We've got a lot of sleet, freezing rain coating the trees out there as well. This activity was actually moving out a little quicker than when we were originally anticipating. This was supposed to be, a 10 to 12 hour event, and ended up being just a couple of hours here. We saw a couple of, give me 1 second, let me turn this off. Give me 1 second. All right, there we go. All right, so this was only supposed to be a couple of hours and stuff like that. It's supposed to be about 10 to 12 hours. Ended up being a couple of hours. This is now moving over to eastern Arkansas at this point.
Another round.
Another round starting to come up.
Another round starting to come up out of Texas. And again, this round coming out of southwest Arkansas stretches all the way down to Dallas and San Angelo, all the way down almost to the Mexican border.
Yep.
So this round will affect us much of the evening into the overnight hours before moving out before sunrise on Wednesday.
Yep.
And similar to what we've seen, similar to what we saw last night, we're going to get a break, a lot of freezing drizzle stuff like that in the middle. That's going to allow temperatures to come back down again. We've not budged at all today. We've typically seen our highs run about probably
26 to 28.
Right.
I don't even think we've reached 30 today. I don't think we've touched 30. The airport.
Yeah.
The airport may have done it for a few hours, but here in the weather center, we've been kind of in the 20s the entire day. So you can see, that's therefore we've got like a lot of reports in. Also, really appreciate you guys for being here and everything. Everybody's been sending photos and videos and everything like that. We promise we're seeing them. And also the questions. I know everybody's trying to get their questions answered and stuff right now. The biggest thing is patience with us, guys, because it's not only just the two of us. We've got easily 10, 15 other people working with us right now, trying to get everything going. But even then, the questions are just coming in every 5 seconds. So you got to be patient with us, guys. Like I said before, we're not ignoring anyone. We're trying to get to everybody as quickly as we can here. So I mentioned before, there's round number 1 from earlier this afternoon. This produced a good amount of freezing rain and sleet across central Arkansas. This is now moving into the battered eastern Arkansas. You guys have seen a lot of freezing rain, especially over here along the Mississippi River over the last 24 hours, and that's going to continue throughout the rest of your evening here. Now, for our folks in western Arkansas, this is not done. You can see your other round beginning to come in from the west-southwest, coming into Mena now, and this will eventually make its way up into the metro by the time we get towards the next couple of hours. So keep this in mind. Don't go traveling. You guys have seen the wrecks on Facebook and on Twitter and everything. You got to be safe out there, folks. And like I mentioned before, I understand a lot of people are still trying to get home. A lot of people didn't, a lot of businesses and stuff didn't let out until like right at lunch during the precipitation. So everybody's still trying to get home. But no need to go 100 miles per hour. Take it slow on the roadways, guys, and be careful. That's the biggest thing I want to stress at this point. Now, there's been some new changes with this, with our winter weather product graphic at this point. So, Derek, I'm going to let you take over that.
Okay, so now there's a lot to go over.
Yes, a lot.
Over with this, and as a matter of fact, we just got something new in. We just got a new warning in as well.
New winter storm warning.
So we're going to go over everything from top to bottom. All right. So first off, we have a winter weather advisory that's in effect for the Ozark Mountains of northwest Arkansas. This is in Tulsa's jurisdiction till 6 p.m. this evening.
Yep.
We expect that to be added again tomorrow as additional data comes in regarding tomorrow's round of winter weather. Now, for north central Arkansas, you are now under a winter weather advisory until noon Thursday.
Yep.
That has been extended to noon Thursday for additional rounds of light wintry weather, mainly in the form of sleet and possibly snow. Yes, I said snow because and we'll go over that in just a little bit. Now, for our folks for the ice storm warning for eastern Arkansas, you've been extended to 6 p.m. on Thursday due to the amount of freezing rain and sleet that we are expecting over the next 24 to 36 hours. And really 48 hours, because we have, again, another 48 hours to go in this event. For central, western, southern Arkansas, you folks have been added to the ice storm warning now till noon on Thursday. And the reason being is we have another round with temperatures below freezing coming in tomorrow, and this one looks to be more of a heavier precip round with additional ice totals of 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice on top of what we've already seen across the area. That goes for the Ouachita, southern Arkansas, central Arkansas. Now, brand new into the Weather Center, and we have to add this, a winter storm warning has now been issued until February 1st at 12 p.m. So that's going to be tomorrow. So the winter weather, so a winter storm warning is now in effect for Union County, Columbia County, Hempstead, Nevada, Howard, and Sevier counties until noon tomorrow. For you folks in that part of the state, it's going to be a question if that gets extended or not, because we are going to be starting to see the transition to warmer air started to come back. But again, they're doing local extensions as we get to the beginning of the next event. Now, for southeastern Arkansas, your winter weather advisory is now in effect until noon on Thursday. Southwest Arkansas, your winter weather advisory, I think, is still in effect until
this evening, I believe.
Until this evening.
Yeah.
But again, that could be extended as well. Again, Little River, Miller, and Lafayette counties, you are the only ones who have not gotten an extension yet, along with Washington, Carroll, Madison, and Benton County as well. You have not gotten an extension yet. And the reason being North Arkansas has not had it is because we expect drier air to start filtering in.
Yep.
For our folks in Southwest Arkansas, we expect warmer air to start filtering in. So again, this is a very complicated system, complicated setup. We have round after round after round. Our main low is still out in the Four Corners. Until that swings through, you're going to continue to get cold Arctic air over the state with additional rounds of precip. And for many of you who have seen just wet roads or wet, looks like rain, it's actually freezing rain. And there has been areas across the state that have seen dry air, especially in the Ouachita Mountains, like Yale County and Montgomery County, some of Polk County. I've seen a lot of images out of Polk County, a lot of sleet snow there, sleet ice there, but you go to Montgomery County, a little bit less. Again, it's been weird how we've seen little inversions develop in between each round.
Yeah. So a couple of things I want to stress to you. First and foremost, and I understand that this is very, very confusing because this is not all in one round. This is broken up into different rounds. This is where everybody's gonna have to pay attention because this is where you have to read the entire graphic. You can't focus on just Arkansas. You have to read the entire thing. Even if you don't want to, you have to read the entire thing because, like I mentioned before, it's broken down into every single round. So that's why your timing has been so different over the last couple of days here. So the biggest thing I want to stress, and I want to address your comment as well about the wet roadways and stuff like that. Folks, you got to realize something. It's below freezing. Not everything is going to immediately freeze. The problem is the longer it's there, the worse it's going to get. I'm going to tell you something that my grandpa used to tell me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You can lead a horse to water. You can't force them to drink it. So we can tell you to stay off the roadways, but if you go on the roadways, it's going to be on you. Okay, so make sure you're taking it slow. We've been hearing reports of wrecks all over the place. And I understand a lot of people still trying to get home because, getting out at noon and everything today. But don't speed. It's not worth it. I promise you, it's not worth it. Okay, so let's talk about this now. There's like I said before, this is kind of the reason why we kind of delayed the live stream just a little bit because me and Derek were kind of thinking about, what we're doing for the accumulations and all the other changes with this map. And the new update with this map will be posted after this live stream, by the way.
Also, also forgot to throw out there, okay. So now just into the
Weather Center
into the Weather Center. So our folks in Northwest Arkansas, winter weather advisory now been extended to 6 a.m. in the morning. Also, we have a winter storm watch that has been issued for a few counties in the River Valley, Crawford, Franklin, and Sebastian counties as well.
All right.
And that winter storm watch is going to go till 12 p.m. on Thursday.
Okay. So basically, this map, in a way, would still stand a little bit because of northwestern Arkansas, but you do have now a winter storm watch here. So, like I mentioned before, it's not only just us. the folks from the National Weather Service Office, RDOT, the Arkansas Department of Transportation, Energy, all those folks are working extremely hard to give you the information right now. So all we're asking is just a little bit of patience here. Now, I talked about this yesterday. We talked about this yesterday, the difference between snow, sleet, freezing rain, and rain. This is why everybody's been seeing different things. Now, I want to stress something right now. The difference between freezing rain and rain, because this is where all the confusion has been over the last 24 to 48 hours. I want to stress this as much as possible and make this as clear as possible. Just because it's raining doesn't mean you got to get out. If your temperatures are below freezing, it is freezing rain. It's going to deceive you. We're telling you this right now because a lot of people are seeing rain. They're thinking, ice is not falling out of the sky. Nothing to worry about. That's wrong. If you're below freezing and you've got rain falling, that is freezing rain. Both of us have seen it. Yep. We've seen the rain accumulate on the power lines, on the trees, on everything else. So keep that in mind, folks. And I mentioned before, I know everybody cannot stay home. I know we have essential workers, medical staff, the electricians that have to be out. Mm-hmm. If you have to be out, use extreme caution on the roadways. But if you have absolutely no reason to be on those roads, don't do it. I mean, it has to be either an emergency or you're an essential worker. But if you can help not being on those roads, you don't need to be on those roads because roads are very, very hazardous at this point. Now, here's your timing for the rest of the evening. Now, I mentioned before this was supposed to be lasting all the way through, and I think we have a second round coming in. So this is going to continue throughout much of your evening and into the night. So most of these areas have already seen it. This was posted about 10 o'clock this morning. Western Arkansas, you're already seeing it. Not Western. Eastern Arkansas, you're already seeing it right now. But this is going to be continuing throughout your evening and into the overnight hours. So Western Arkansas, you're seeing it now. It's going to continue all the way to about midnight tonight. Central, you've got this second round coming in. It's going to be coming in probably around rush hour, about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. It's going to continue throughout much of the evening as well. And in Eastern Arkansas, I'd say probably a little bit after your overnight hours over there in Eastern Arkansas. You guys have been dealing with a lot over there at this point. What you got?
Brand new into the
ice storm warning now for Ashland.
Ice storm warning for Ashland, Shield County till 12 p.m. on Wednesday.
Okay, so they're expecting the round that's coming in tomorrow to be the big deal because you're now
this
getting
is for tonight,
tomorrow. Yeah. So you're seeing a lot of watches and warnings and stuff coming in now regarding tomorrow. So this is going to continue throughout the day tomorrow. This is not going to fully end until sometime late on Thursday, and there are some questions actually if it's gonna end on Thursday. We may have to get through this all the way till Friday morning, but this is your current timing for this event. We're going to coordinate a timing, and we're going to have it on the page for tonight regarding tomorrow's event into tomorrow night here.
Also, just into the weather center as well, ice storm warning has been extended to Drew and DeShay counties.
Okay, so you're talking.
We're getting so we're continuing to add the southern extent of this. And this is exactly what we talked about. For several days, Southeast Arkansas was our concern originally, that we would see that extension further south and east as we got going into this event. And that's exactly what we have seen happen.
And that's the thing. We talked about that southern area being concerned, especially if you've got your colder air deeper with this system here. Now, let's talk about this. And this is, like I said, this is one of the main reasons why the live stream was a little bit delayed this afternoon. It's because we were trying to catch up. We were simply trying to catch up and trying to decide between, are we going to upgrade or not. And I think we decided to go upgrade from Mena to Little Rock into Memphis. Now, I want to stress something before I get into all of the comments and stuff. This is additional accumulation. A lot of people have already seen accumulating ice and stuff like that. If you haven't, consider yourself blessed. Consider yourself blessed. Don't go asking the folks in White County or in Memphis because they've been battered over there with ice. And also northwestern Arkansas. If you haven't seen any ice, you consider yourself blessed, but this is not over. But I will say from Mena to Hot Springs to Little Rock to Stuttgart over to Memphis, we're talking the potential of a ½ inch of ice, potentially as high as 3/4 inch of ice, which is, you start talking about almost extreme impacts at this point. This is going to be what tomorrow's round through Thursday. We're thinking that round is going to be the heaviest out of the ones we've seen so far across the area.
And the reason being is for this is that, a lot of people have seen sleet today. That's cut down on a little bit of your totals that were expected for today. The reason being is your loft temperatures, which is a little bit colder, which is a blessing in disguise because with this winter ground coming through. Had it been just rainfall, we'd have seen already a half to maybe up to three-quarters of an inch ice. Parts of eastern Arkansas have already had a half an inch of ice or more, and we're expecting additional, especially this round this evening. Again, our loft temperatures are already warming up. So we're starting to see that transition to mainly freezing rain already.
Yep.
And we have another round. Again, many folks I'm seeing right now are saying it's dry here, it's stopped there. We're going to get a break. As we've been mentioning for several days, this is going to come in waves throughout the week. Monday night, Tuesday, etc. And again, we see a small break. We're going to have another round basically from late this afternoon into the nighttime hours of this evening. Temperatures in the 20s across much of the state to around 30 to 31 for everybody across the state except for the very southwest corner of the state. Texarkana, I don't know what y'all have going on. Keep it up. Y'all are the winners in this when it comes to rainfall versus the ice across the state. Everybody else is now be at or below freezing across the state. So once again, that being said, this is in addition because you have training. Basically, instead of training thunderstorm, we have training ice and sleet coming across
freezing
the
rain
state.
showers. To
Basically.
be technical,
And North Arkansas, the reason why you're not going to be seeing a lot of this is we talk about this a lot with Arctic air.
Yep.
The northern extendance is being eroded by that dry Arctic air. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, some places in North Arkansas could see a little bit of sunshine.
Yep.
And could be slightly warmer than those south of
the area.
For example, central Arkansas could be in the 20s, while parts of the Ozarks are near freezing.
Yep.
It's going to be one of those weird days tomorrow but then tomorrow afternoon, all this comes in, cloud cover, and it spreads across the whole state with everybody be below freezing still.
Yep. So this is what we mean, like I mentioned before. The rest of the state, especially North Arkansas, about 0.15 upwards to a quarter of an inch of ice. Central, and especially from Mena to Little Rock to Memphis, upwards to half an inch of ice, potentially upwards to three-quarters of an inch of ice with this system here. Now, let's talk about this. This is the ice damage threat across the board. Now, obviously, given that we have new ice storm warnings and everything, this is going to get changed yet again. This map has changed probably about 5 times now, given that what we have across the board. But I want you guys to pay attention to a couple of things. First and foremost, South Arkansas. At one point, you guys were not even in this at all. At one point, you weren't even in it. Now you're starting to see this trend further and further to the south.
Yep. So right now, we're going to have a 3 for our folks in South Arkansas.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3.
We're going to keep it at a 1 for our folks in Texarkana.
Yeah.
Because you somehow are the ones that are
getting rain.
It's weird.
It's probably southeast flow down there more than likely.
But again, for our folks in the north, you will remain at a 2. Now, for our folks in the white area, like Cameron said, we're probably going to be up in this to a 5. We want to see how the next 12 to 24 hours goes with this event, but upgrade again is still possible for the ice damage threat as we go forward. Right now, power outages have been kept at a minimum.
Yep.
That's a good thing because we've had more sleet today versus ice. Again, just want to stress that changes over the next 24 hours. The main roads may seem wet because RDOT is treating them.
But they're doing a great job there too.
Again, the roads may seem wet if you drive slow. They are strictly iced over. Most of the state is now iced over. Your back roads are just completely gone.
Yep.
Sleet, snow, ice on them across the state, and that's something that again, your ice damage threat is mainly for trees and power lines. And that being said, we have seen a lot of trees starting to sway. A lot of trees starting to get the bent arm look. And as we go into the overnight hours, your northeast wind is ready to pick up a little bit as your main system gets a little bit closer. What that's going to do is help to bring those winds a little bit higher. That could start to cause our power outage issues and our tree limbs to start breaking under the weight. For our folks in northeast Arkansas, the lucky thing is here with this. Northwest Arkansas has seen a reprieve from the ice. Our concern coming into this was with the snow last week, coupled with ice this week, it would cause a lot more damage than what it did. Fortunately, you've seen more sleet up there than you have ice, which is really helped. River Valley and point southeast, not so lucky, and unfortunately, we still have 2 more rounds really to go this afternoon into tonight and then tomorrow night into Thursday night before we are said and done.
Yeah, and I want to talk about this too. Like what we've had like so far. This is our ice damage strap. Now, this is another concern about right here. Now Derek mentioned this before. Let's talk about this. Now, we're gonna switch it over just for a brief bit, and I'm gonna zoom this out. This is iDrive. You can find this. This is free to everybody, free to the public, so you're not missing anything. This is what's concerning me right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wrecks across the board at this point. I'm not saying every single one of these wrecks are intentional or anything like that. Because like I mentioned before, a lot of people got off right as the precipitation started. But the biggest thing I'm stressing right now, slow it down if you got to be out. If you don't have to be out, don't get out at all. Take a look at much of Arkansas at this point, going down into South Arkansas now. The area that you see in the light pink, that is slush. That is freezing. That's where you're getting the freezing rain and sleet combination across the board. Now, I mentioned before, it looks wet because it hasn't had time to really freeze on those roadways. It's not going to be an instant freeze. You're not that cold, but it will happen over time. That's why we're stressing so much. Don't travel because some areas along the road may seem wet and passable, but in other areas that have not been touched in a few hours, it's going to be straight black ice. Think about you putting water in the freezer. You know, you take it out 2 or 3 hours, some of the ice cubes are already developing while others haven't. That's how it is. The roadway seems somewhat wet while other places that haven't been touched are black ice. That's why it's so dangerous to travel with this, and that's why we're urging everybody to stay at home. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wrecks across the state right now, guys. Like I mentioned before, if you don't have to get out, don't get out. And if that annoys you, then so be it. But if you don't have to get out, don't get out, folks. This is why we're stressing this so much. So this is the ice damage threat. Derek, do you have anything over there?
A lot of people are commenting about the roads being dry as a bone in the city. I don't really know how that happened because we had a period of sleet freezing. You know, I look outside.
Oh yeah, on roads,
in front of us, and we have a lot of sleet and ice on our roads here. Again, the main roads are the ones that are going to be passable.
Yeah.
Quote. I say that very lightly because again, Little Rock's proper temperature warmed up downtown areas to around 31 degrees, along with your sun angle. Help to kind of somewhat alleviate a little bit of the issue. Again, as we talked about last night.
Yep.
31 and up, you're okay on the roads. 30 and below is when you start having issues on the road. Again, that makes sense. We go into the evening hours, you're going to start losing your sunlight. Once again, those are going to refreeze rapidly, and we have additional freezing rain sleet coming in. So the roads are going to go downhill. I'm seeing comments out of say places like Hot Springs saying we haven't gotten anything. I've seen reports out of Hot Springs where you've had up to a quarter inch ice.
And even some snow down there.
We go by official reports, and what the National Weather Service is reporting is we've had a widespread area of ice and sleet across a large area of the state, and radar confirms that as well.
I fully concur with that. And the thing is, though, if you don't see ice with this event, there's no reason to pout about it. That's how I see it, because ice is completely different from snow. It's a completely different beast across the area. So this is what we've got at this point. And also, like I mentioned before, we talked about the freezing rain impacts. Like I mentioned before, freezing rain is the more confusing one because it looks like regular rain. However, don't let that deceive you. Most areas are probably in this first column where they've got about 1/10 of an inch of ice, maybe a quarter. Eastern Arkansas has been battered. You guys have seen a significant amount of icing over there, especially close to Memphis. So you guys are in that second column now. But as we get later and later, especially tonight, throughout much of the day tomorrow, and there's some concern that this could last all the way to Thursday, I'm really worried that some places could eventually make its way into the third column where you start seeing the power outages and the tree damage.
Yeah.
So far, we've been outside of Eastern Arkansas. At one point, you had 5,000 power outages over there. Mm-hmm. Energy's doing one heck of a job getting out there and turning your lights back on. However, your problem is not over with until this entire system gets out of here. So power outages are still going to continue to be an issue all the way until you get towards late Thursday night, possibly Friday morning. That's if you don't have any accidents or anything like that, because accidents can lead to power outages. as well. That's why we're urging everybody to kind of stay home here at this point. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put back our timing for just a little bit, and I'm gonna address a few comments here at this point. So I know, and like I said, Jennifer, I want to talk about this too, and for some reason it's not pulling up. Maybe because I haven't turned off. Let's talk about this as well. I know there's some jobs out there that will tell you to come to work or you'll be fired and stuff like that. Safety comes first before anything. I promise you, you can go find another job or anything like that. But if there's a job out there making you come to work and your roads are iced over, that is life-threatening at that point, because that's putting you and whoever's in that vehicle with you at risk. So tell them how it is. Show them pictures, videos. If you cannot safely make it there, then they're going to have to understand that. And I understand, you can't come in unless you're fired, but they're going to have to understand that if you can't physically get there, it's not going to happen. That's just how it is. If you're an essential worker, I understand, because you necessarily have to get out. That's what I'm saying. If you have to get out, use extreme caution. Don't go 60 miles per hour trying to get there or anything like that. You're going to be driving slow getting there, and you're going to be late. But you'll at least be safe, and you'll be able to make it back to your home. So that's the biggest thing I kind of want to address right now here. So let me see here. Now, Michael's got a question. Michael asking about Thursday. Thursday is still questionable. We're learning a lot about Thursday right now because we're trying to figure out how are your temperatures going to be. What's the precipitation is going to be by the time we get towards Thursday. And right now, what we're seeing computer model data is getting colder and colder and colder and colder. Remember, at one point, Wednesday and Thursday, we're supposed to be switching back over to rain. That's not going to be the case anymore. You're going to keep freezing rain throughout much of the day tomorrow, potentially into the day on Thursday.
And the biggest question is with Thursday right now is that, the expectation is that we're going to warm up above freezing just enough. Now, Thursday night, we drop right back down below freezing into the 20s and 30s once again with clearing skies. So, whatever's on the ground will refreeze on Thursday night before, again, we finally warm up on Friday and then eventually put it into this. Some guys next week takes it into the 60s and 70s. So, again, this is short-lived. We're gonna get through it, but again, it's gonna take. We got to get to that point. And right now, everything is looking like this is going to be a long duration event.
Yep.
Even if we do warm up above freezing on Thursday, it won't be till late in the day, and it will take most of the day to melt that ice and sleet and snow. Obviously, your roads will come first, followed by your trees and power lines. However, whatever weight is on those trees and power lines right now, as it starts to melt, could easily break them and fall on the power lines. So again, the power ice threat and the tree damage threat continues to at least midday on Thursday, which is why the ice storm warning is in effect.
Yep. And we're taking a look at radar here. Also, like I said before, I see what you guys are talking about in terms of in terms of everything, in terms of what pulling the radar, like I mentioned before. Patience with this, guys, because we're trying to get to as many people as possible. So this is right now going into eastern Arkansas. This gets over with by late tonight. As a matter of fact, you can see what it's trying to do. There's another round coming up from southwest Arkansas. So Little Rock here in central Arkansas and eastern Arkansas, you guys are not going to be done until I'd say 10 p.m. And I'm really worried. You're not going to see this with the HR, but I'm worried about some freezing drizzle during the overnight hours as well. That's something that we saw last night with freezing drizzle, and model guidance really doesn't pick it up because it's not that high res. It's not it's not going to show every bit of what radar is trying to do. But let's take this out a little bit further here. Now you can see this right here. That gets clear. Now, like I said before, you're going to get to tomorrow, much of the day tomorrow, and somebody's going to try to get out. Don't get out. Your temperatures are going to be well below freezing. Your roadways are still going to be a mess. Don't get out. Don't try to rush as much as you guys are trying to rush this. Don't rush it because it's going to take time. This is a patient system. It's going to take time for everything to get back to normal. So what's going to happen is we get towards late Wednesday, which is tomorrow. I would say your timing right now in southwest Arkansas will be around 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow night. There's your freezing rain beginning to make its way back into central Arkansas by the time we get towards 6 p.m. And I mean, boy, it just overspreads the area late Wednesday night and Thursday. Those darker colors that you're seeing could result in thunder, freezing rain, or thunderstorms inside sub-freezing air, which could result in much higher accumulating ice across the board. And then you can see this continues throughout much of the day on Wednesday, much of the day on Wednesday evening, and the Wednesday night. And then you can see first thing Thursday morning, you still got freezing rain. And there's concerns now, and I'm looking at the HRR.
Yep.
There are some concerns now that just temperatures may not be able to get above freezing. You do for just that little bit of time, but you're at 48 hours out. Let's see what happens with this one. But this could be a situation that you have freezing rain throughout much of the day on Thursday, too. Thursday night, you fall right below freezing, and you don't put it into this until Friday, or even in some particular cases on Saturday, because you're going to have another refreezing event Friday night and Saturday with anything that's left over. So let me see here. We'll go over everything at this point. Let me see. So biggest question is, why is Sebastian County taken to the winter storm watch as opposed to the advisory?
So the winter storm watch is for Wednesday into Thursday.
Yeah.
The winter storm watch has been issued because they're trying to figure out what it's going to do. Will the precip shield come far enough north to give y'all an ice threat, sleet threat, snow threat? Will it be just an ice threat? That is going to be the biggest thing when it comes to the winter storm watch. And as a matter of fact, what I can do here is tell y'all what the winter storm watch is for. So again, this is so winter storm watch is in effect from Wednesday afternoon through Thursday morning. So for the so additional sleet accumulation less than 1/4 inch possible.
Mm-hmm.
For the winter storm watch, significant icing possible. Total ice accumulation of 1/4 to 1/2 inch. So again, the winter storm watch is for you folks in Sebastian, Crawford,
that's
and
the thing, northwestern Arkansas.
For icing.
So your totals are going to have to go up even more now with our newest updates. So that's what I'm saying. We're having to change it as guidance and trends are becoming colder and colder and colder. So let me see here. I'm going to go out everything right now here. Also, I want to let you guys know this as well. We have moderators on this post. We have moderators on this page. Keep the comments respectful. That's my only warning to you guys right now. So let me see here. Let me see. Everybody's kind of asking about Union County. Union County, I think you guys are still under the advisory down there.
No, they're in the winter storm.
Oh, they're in the winter storm watch now.
No,
okay. Warning. You're on the winter storm warning now. So you guys are going to be seeing it probably late. I'd say late in the day on Wednesday. Now, model guidance right now is keeping you guys a cold rain down there, which I highly disagree with, because I think model guidance is coming in a little bit warmer. Now, Derek, I'm gonna pull your attention for just a second. I've seen the HRR right now, and this is, like I said, one model you want to take it seriously, but it has the freezing rain, has much of the area. Take a look out towards the west. You see that area of snow, freezing rain, and sleet out there?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's indicating yet another round being possible late Thursday and into Friday morning. If that is the case, you fall right back below freezing. We could potentially be talking about this all the way till Friday now. Right now, we'll see what ends up happening with that round back there for Thursday. But right now, if you fall below freezing Thursday night with that other round coming in, I think that's what your main system, then what's going to end up happening is you may run a shot of more freezing rain and sleet, and potentially, if you get cold enough, for some snowfall in this. Right now, it's still a little too early. We're still learning a lot more about the system, but I'm really concerned about tomorrow. I'm really concerned about late tomorrow and into your Thursday time frame here. So, Southern Arkansas, let me see. Go ahead.
All right, so the winter storm warning for Union, Columbia County, and those in southwest Arkansas is up to 1/4 inch of ice.
Okay.
So instead of Shreveport issuing ice storm warnings, they've issued winter storm warnings instead.
Okay. So is there any sleet in there, or is it just straight freezing?
It's straight freezing.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Okay. So, let me see here. Stacy, I've already taken care of that. As I said before, my apologies, guys. Let me see here. Going over everything right now. So yeah, Austin, I do agree that guidance is too warm for that tomorrow and that Thursday time frame here. We'll have to wait to see with that. It has been doing really bad with the temperatures over the last couple of days, so I could see that being the case, and that'd be the worst case scenario for us here in Arkansas, is that this ends up being temperatures end up busting, and that's how you get the precipitation start to occur here. So snow mixing in Hope right now. Stephanie, thank you so much. A lot of people have been, just straight up not patient, stuff like that. We always appreciate you guys for giving these compliments, man, because it's a lot of hard work that goes into these as well, especially when you're breaking it down event by event versus the entire thing at once. So that's what's been the biggest confusing thing to a lot of people is this is round by round, not coming in all at once. We've been seeing, you know, with previous events where it's been all at once and it's over and done. This is broken down into different rounds, so it's a little harder to kind of understand the timing and everything at this point here. So I will say this with the HR, we can take a look at the ice totals real quick, and it's not pretty. This is through, so this is through tonight and the first thing Wednesday morning. You have an additional upwards to 1/4 of an inch, upwards to 3/10 of an inch of ice over here in central and eastern Arkansas. Now we can take this back, take this back to the 18Z, and let's show everybody what's going on with this. Now this is your entire event from tomorrow night all the way to Thursday. You're talking some places over here in western Arkansas could see upwards to 1 inch of ice across the area here. So we'll have to wait and see. South Arkansas, I think it's underdoing South Arkansas right now because it is running a little warmer down here. However, central and northern Arkansas and eastern and southeastern Arkansas, that's where you're going to have the event across the area as we get towards late tonight and the first part of your tomorrow morning here. So let me see here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So the biggest thing to keep in mind with this, I know a lot of people, you know, some of the whenever you mention ice storm in Arkansas, everybody thinks of 2000. They think of 2009. They think of last year the ice storm in southeast Arkansas. You know, for southeast Arkansas, this is your second winter in a row with a major ice storm. Now, once again, that being said, we don't expect it to that level. However, we are starting to get closer than what we originally thought we were going to be. Originally, this is supposed to be over with by noon tomorrow.
Yeah.
We warm up, get rain, we're done. But I remember, something that went into our forecast originally was, and something that, I've really been, continuously watching Arkansas weather over the years, and Arctic air is always underdone on guidance.
Yep.
9 out of 10 times when you have northeast winds and a system like this coming in, you're gonna have colder air last longer.
Yep.
And that's exactly what has happened with this event. And I remember telling Cameron, let's consider all possibilities into our forecast and go on and include southeast Arkansas, go on and include South Arkansas, because the writing on the wall said cold air around the mountains is going to get through the delta faster than it gets into southwest Arkansas.
Yep.
That's exactly what has happened to date. Is so far most state has been below freezing since yesterday evening. Now you're starting to South Arkansas and Southwest finally get close to that freezing mark almost 36 hours after the front has come through.
Yep.
And very common for shallow Arctic air masses to do this. Also for data to underestimate the cold air. Therefore, that's where the human element of forecasting comes in, and that's where forecasts come in different from your weather apps or your FutureCast radar on your weather apps. Because this is what we are. This is where your human element come in, and why we are so good at what we do, because we can take the human element and put it into a graphic to give you the best forecast possible. Again, no forecast is ever going to be 100% right.
Yep.
I remember a couple years ago, Ryan Bond in Jonesboro, he forecasted 4 to 8 inches of snow.
Ended up getting ice up there.
Yeah. So again, the atmosphere is a fluid.
Yeah.
It's never 100% the same. For example, some areas saw snow and sleet today, while others saw ice.
I think we saw it here in Little Rock for a brief period where it was freezing rain, sleet,
Yep.
snow, even in some cases moderate snow at one point, switched right back over to sleet, went right back to freezing rain. So that's why we're saying be patient with us. That's why we're telling you guys right now that these forecasts change. And you're seeing a lot of changes because we're all still trying to learn this event. This is what we call an evolving situation. This is one of those systems that's not going to be all at once or anything like that. I agree with that one comment. This should be an all-snow event. If we had the solid cold air in place, this should be an all-snow event. And I'm going to tell you why coming up when we do the spring outlook next month, why we're having such a hard time getting the cold air this far south. And it's going to have a lot to do with what's coming up this upcoming spring. But anyways, that's the biggest reason why we're asking you guys for patience and stuff like that, because we're still trying to learn it. We're still trying to get the timing and all the other graphics out as fast as possible while answering questions, while making sure that we're kept up on data and everything like that. We actually got assistance from our friends over in southwestern Arkansas, Arklatex Weather Center down there. They've been helping us out. So that's why we're asking you guys at this point. Austin, I do agree with you as well. Unfortunately, and I'm praying that it's not the case, but those totals could be underdone if this ends up being the case here. Because tomorrow, you're going to have a little bit more warmer air to work with versus what we've been dealing with the last two systems. The colder air was able to get further south. That helped us out in some cases in terms of getting sleet and stuff like that, kind of navigating away around from what's pretty much been a all freezing rain event. However, you're going to warm up aloft just enough over the next 1 to 2 days to cause freezing rain. So unfortunately, like Austin said, some of these totals could be underdone across the area here. So let me see here. We'll go over everything right now. Shannon, that's going to be a no. This is our main live stream for today, but I want to urge something to you guys as well. These live streams, we're not a live stream based page. We will never be a live stream based page, if you get what I mean. So basically, it's not just the live streams that we have the information. We have information on our Facebook group, on our entire page, on our Discord, on YouTube, all the other stuff. We're getting our website back up as well. So don't focus so much on the live streams. As much as you guys love them and we love doing them, don't focus on just live streams, because there's all the other information on the page that it will be there as well. I don't know who pulled up that comment, but I don't know whose name that is, but
Stephen,
Stephen,
long-time follower.
Yeah, so he's saying that the ditches, there's 4 vehicles on ditches on 167 between Southside and Pleasant. People, slow down. Just because you were behind an RDOT salt truck doesn't mean the road is good. There's still ice on the road under what they have scraped, guaranteed. So that's what we're urging right now, guys. If you don't have to be out, don't be out. If you gotta get out, take it slow, guys. It's not a speed race to get to work or get to wherever you gotta go. You can get there, I promise you. But if you go slow, you'll be fine. But if you speed up, that's where you're gonna run into problems, because you don't know where exactly those ice patches are on the roadways. Your human eye is not going to be able to see that, especially at night. At night, it gets even trickier to see it versus during the day. So slow down. I know a lot of people is going one area after the next, but you're going to have to slow down out there, folks, guys. It's not just for our sake. It's for yours and everybody else around you. And also, it could be a power outage deal as well, because if you hit one of those power poles, especially one of the main ones, you knock out power for much of your city. So keep that in mind. If you don't have to get out, don't get out at all at this point. So let me see here, Becky. I love this comment as well. Thank you guys for keeping us updated on this ugly weather maker. I appreciate your hard work and the long hours you put into this. As mentioned before, the biggest thing is we love doing it. It's our passion. We've been doing it since 2014. We don't mind it. It's just, like I mentioned before, I'm wishing a lot of people would understand, especially in situations like this. If it was one solid event, then it'd be a whole lot easier getting the timing and all the other stuff down. But this is this is one big event broken up into 4 different pieces. Yeah. We've already gotten 2 pieces out of the way. We've got the other 2. We've got 2 more coming. So this is broken up into those little pieces, and you have to pinpoint timing from one to the other, to the other, to the other. And then once you get all that good to go, you got to get the accumulations and all the other good stuff. So there's a whole lot of hard work that's coming in this, because it's broken up into 4 different pieces instead of one piece as well. So,
and then here's the flip side of this coin. If we were talking severe weather, this has been in, out, and gone.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is how this works. Winter weather is like an extended stay that won't go away. You're ready for it to be done and over with. Severe weather, it's here, out and gone. But then you're gonna have to pick up the pieces. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword either way you go. Unfortunately, we know back in November when we came out with our winter outlook, we talked about late winter would feature ice events. And this is exactly what we're talking about. Late January and February would feature ice events before a warm-up heading into February and March. And, right now, we said early winter, late winter would feature severe events. So far, that's been right. We said December, January would feature a few snow events and warm-ups and cool-downs. We've seen that as well. Again, This also proves another point. We've been warm almost the entire month of January
yep.
until now. And now all of a sudden you have ice and sleet.
Yep.
And then we had snow just last week. So once again, just because you have warm air does not mean you're not going to see winter weather. Just because we're going to warm up here next week doesn't mean we are completely done. Do I think we're getting ready to turn a corner? Not yet. I think you're going to see one more event in February. Will it be ice or snow? I don't know yet. But I do think you're going to see another warm up after this event, and that's already evident going into next week. And then after that, the question is going to be is, do we start seeing more severe weather, or do we start seeing rainfall and a transition back to winter one more time before we warm up for the spring?
Yep.
And our spring outlook will be coming out around March 1st.
Yep.
So, and that's going to be a big thing because we are transitioning from La Nina to a neutral pattern.
Yep.
And so we're going to have a lot of information on that, but we'll have more on that towards March 1st.
Definitely. And Cal and and folks, this is what we're talking about. He works for RDOT, and I don't know how long you've been working, Bud, but I appreciate you so much. That's from both of us, from the entire team. We appreciate your hard work, buddy. But he works for RDOT, and he made a great point. When y'all go out and joyride and everything like that, I did.
Pull your comments down because it's still showing. It's not on the screen.
Okay. All right. Because I didn't want to block South Arkansas. That was the biggest thing. I can counter that. Give me 1 second.
Missouri, nobody cares about.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
But anyways, that's what he was talking about. So hopefully there it is. There we go. So hopefully everybody can see South Arkansas now. But he works for RDOT, and the biggest thing is when he goes out and you go out and you joyride and stuff like that, especially with events like this, it makes his job harder because he has to go all the way back, do the same road, and treat it once again because you were just on it. So that's what we're telling you guys. And as annoying as it sounds, that's how it's going to be. We don't want you guys on the roadways unless you're an essential worker, you're an RDOT worker, you're an electrician. If you necessarily have to be out, your job necessarily demands you to be out, then you can get out, but take it easy on the roadways, guys, and please be respectful to them. Mm-hmm. They are working their tails off, probably easily 12-hour plus shifts right now to make sure that our roads are good, not only for just us, but think about the truckers as well. The ones that are coming in for the grocery stores and all the other good stuff. They're making sure that they can make it to the stores so you guys can have stuff on the shelves and everything like that. So be respectful to them. That's the biggest thing. As a first responder, please don't go joyriding. It's already hard enough for us. And that's what I'm saying. First responders don't get a lot of credit. Yep. They don't. They don't get a lot of credit. We really do appreciate y'all being out there for busting your behinds, especially with events like this where you have all this hazardous weather and everything like that. And look at what happened in Eastern Arkansas. You had 5,000 power outages last night. You're now down to 1. So they're working their behinds off, trying to get everything ready to go here. And also, Dustin made a great point. He's one of our forecasters. Your brakes are not going to work on ice. It's not. Once you lose traction, it's over. You're done at that point. So that's why we're telling you guys, don't speed, because as soon as you hit the brake, you're done. You lose that traction, you're going to hydroplane off the road, and that's how you end up in the ditch. So that's why we're telling you guys that right now here. So let me see here. I'm just going over everything right now. I think that is the majority. Nikki, thank you so much for that comment. Recapping tonight's timing. I'm just going to say for the entire area, it's going to be over by 2 a.m. This is for the entire state of Arkansas. It's going to go over to about 2 a.m. tonight. We'll have a timing map probably late tonight going over the timing for tomorrow and everything like that here. But that's what we got at this point here. So, yeah, I would fully agree. The White County Sheriff Department saying if you're going too fast in this weather, it's a tickable offense. I fully agree. I think that's a great idea because, like I said, you shouldn't be on the roads to begin with unless you necessarily have to, like in an emergency situation, or you absolutely, like if you're one of the essential workers or a first responder or something like that, if you absolutely have to be out, that's the only time you should be out. You shouldn't be out just to joyride or anything like that because it's not worth it, especially if you're speeding. If you're going 15, 20 miles per hour, that's a different story. But if you're speeding, you're going 50, 60 miles per hour, there's no need for all that. So let me see here. We'll go over everything right now. Derek, do you have anything over there? Just new information? I know there's one from Storm Prediction Center. It's a mesoscale from earlier.
That was
talking about the freezing rain. Yeah. Other than that, I think that is really it. We can go back over to current. Let's go back to current radar real quick and show you guys what's going on. So I'm gonna leave this up for a little bit, but this is current radar at this point. The orange color up here in northeastern Arkansas is sleet. The pink color you're seeing right here is straight freezing rain. And then down in southwestern Arkansas, you guys are seeing that there's just a rain right now.
That's actually a misconception on radar right now. We're getting a lot of reports of sleet and freezing rain.
Okay.
El Dorado, the Hope area.
Gotcha.
Over towards the DeQueen National area.
Okay. Well. All right. And this is, as a matter of fact, we can probably do something like this. Let's see if we can tilt this radar. It may be occurring under it's occurring under the radar's beam right now. So, and I can see it too, especially in these darker cores right here near Hope and the Roxbury near Chilster over here in southwestern Arkansas. I can see you getting freezing rain and sleet out of that, and possibly some thunder sleet out of that as well. You have to be careful with those heavier cores like we saw up there in White County earlier on this afternoon. And here in the metro, we had a little bit of rumble thunder here. And, southwest Arkansas, over there in Sebastian County, you guys saw thunder sleet as well. So that's been the case here. But you can see where your freezing line is aloft because your freezing rain and sleet here. But as soon as you turn the corner to Missouri, you're straight snow. You've got snow ongoing near West Plains right there near Poplar Bluff. This cold air, unfortunately, is not going to make its way down into Arkansas with this particular event here. So,
Waldo is also reporting sleet and ice now as well.
Yeah. So that's what we got at this point. Cal's working 16-hour shifts, man. My heart goes out to you, buddy. We appreciate y'all for being out there at this point. So let me see here. I'm going to go over everything right now. So I think that is really it in terms of everything. Dawn, to answer your question with that, the power grid's actually been doing outside of eastern Arkansas. It's actually been holding up pretty well because we haven't seen, like he's mentioned, significant icing. It's been mainly sleet, which has been good. We talked about this too, that if your cold air eventually was able to come in deeper, it would bring more of a sleet potential versus freezing rain. So right now we're pretty good, but more freezing rain expected to come in throughout late tonight, tomorrow, throughout the day tomorrow, and then into Thursday. We're gonna have time map for that. And then, yeah.
A lot of people are like, I was over here because it quit. It's over here because it quit. Over here because it quit. Like again, we said this time and time again. There's multiple rounds. There's waves. Waves are pretty still. It's not one. If you had one extended wave from last night all the way through Thursday,
you'd be looking at a catastrophic event.
We're talking about 2 to 3 inches of ice. But we're not. We are having waves. Everybody across the state is below freezing, except for the very far southwest corner of the state. And no, the roads are not going to be clear. There's slush on the roadway. There's slush on the roads. It's going to freeze over overnight. Temperatures are still in the 20s across most of the state, 20s to low 30s. Any roadways that look wet are going to be icy.
Yep.
Any roads that have slush on them right now are going to be icy by the morning because once the sun goes down, all that is going to turn into straight ice. And again, worst case scenario you had was sleet on them freezing rain. That's going to create a concrete basically layer of ice that is going to be really, really hard to scrape off as you go. So once again, travel is not advised. Even the National Weather Service in the Little Rock is saying stay off the roads if possible.
Yeah.
Travel impacts are rampant around the state. They will continue to be through Thursday. That's why the ice storm warning is in effect.
Yep, and I think that's the biggest thing here. So, is Fayetteville done getting out? This is a legitimate question. This is a legitimate question up there in Fayetteville. You guys have had a lot of issues in terms of dry air and everything up there in northwestern Arkansas. You guys are not done as of now.
Yep.
You will have more precipitation coming in as we get towards late tomorrow night. I should take that back. Late, very, very late tomorrow night into the day on Thursday. Thursday is really going to be your concern up there in northern Arkansas because you're going to have somewhat of a return flow on Thursday, which could help you get above freezing for a few hours before you fall right back down Thursday night here. But that was a legitimate question, especially up there in northwestern Arkansas because you guys have been dealing with a lot of dry air. Central and south and southwest, all the questions about are we done? We're not done. We've stressed this a million times. We are not done. This is broken down into many pieces of this event, many rounds of systems that are coming through right now. The main one will not come through until Thursday at this point. So let me see here. I think that is it. Beth, Thank you so much for that. Thank you for the reports. By the way, if we're getting your photos and videos and stuff like that, we do have them in the group. We're posting on Facebook and stuff like that. So that's the biggest thing. We really appreciate y'all for being here. Tammy, thank you so much for that as well. And also, I'm going to address this real quick too. Well, a lot of weather apps are saying freeze rain is supposed to last till 6 p.m. and it's just the next round. Just trying to work and watch this at the same time. So freezing rain is going to end. This round is going to end tonight. Okay, this is one of the rounds that's going to end tonight. We talked about this a couple of days ago that this was going to be broken up into multiple rounds. This is going to end tonight, and then that's over with. You have one coming in tomorrow, so you're going to get a lull in the period. And I say lull in the period so lightly, because you're going to have freezing drizzle. That drizzle's not going anywhere, and I think that's been the biggest problem on your roadways. And Cal, you can agree with me with that as well, because he's seen it firsthand. That drizzle, it's been a nightmare to counteract on the roadways. So that's been your problem. It's been doing that, and then you have the bulk precipitation coming in to make things worse. So I will say you will have a quote-unquote lull in the period late tonight into tomorrow, and then the heavier precipitation comes in late tomorrow. As I mentioned before, and we'll say this again, we're going to have timing on the page, so you don't have to worry about that or anything like that. We're not planning on going back live tonight or anything like that unless, something massive comes up, but we're going to have posts on the page. That's the biggest thing I want to urge you guys right now. Follow us. Follow the page. Tell your family and your friends about our page. That way you're not waiting for a live stream. You can look at our posts and get the exact same information. That's the biggest thing we're trying to stress right now.
You can rewatch this as well on Facebook and YouTube as well.
Yep.
Also, again, we will have another stream tomorrow. Again, our plans to go at least once a day with these, just to keep you updated on all of the newest information. And again, for the event tomorrow afternoon through Thursday, we'll have a lot more information this time. Well, around noon tomorrow than we do now, because that event is still we're watching where the low pressure is going to track as the main system starts to pull out of Arizona and New Mexico and tracking along the Gulf Coast, and that will be the deciding factor as to how prolonged that event's going to be.
Yep, that's the biggest thing here. And like Cal mentioned before, that drizzle is it's dreadful. It didn't show up on radar. We spent hours cleaning a road, and then the next route, the drizzle just completely wrecks the finished route series. So that's the biggest thing. That's why they're having so much trouble trying to keep up, because you get one road done, great, you go to the next route, you come right back, the drizzle is just completely wrecked that road. So you're working yourself over and over and over and over again trying to keep up. But that drizzle is not being picked up. And the reason why it's not being picked up on radar and by your model guys is because it's occurring so low in the radar beam, even lower than even model guys can pick up. You're not going to see it. Matter of fact, Derek, if you can take over just a bit, I'm going to switch this over. Weather.com has the precipitation, especially with the HR, and it does a real fine job with showing that the drizzle. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this over. Matter of fact, Derek, we're good. I got over here. So there's a drizzle right in here, and like I said, it does a real fine job with highlighting where that drizzle is going to be, especially from central into South Arkansas. This is late in the night on Wednesday, tonight into tomorrow morning here. So it keeps that drizzle around for much of the area, and then you can see what ends up happening. It comes in right around, and it's going to be the worst time possible, right around rush hour tomorrow evening. So if you have to be out on the roadways or something like that, try to get it done tomorrow morning, early afternoon. We don't want anybody on the roadways rush hour when this comes in, because it's going to be a nightmare when this comes in at this point. And you can see what ends up happening right over Arkansas. Just a straight, constant round of freezing rain throughout much of the morning hours on Thursday. Hopefully you transition over. I mean, hopefully and pray that you transition over to rainfall. But I'm having questions about this.
Then we're going to watch our upper level low.
This is your upper level low right here that could produce snow for our folks as we get towards late Thursday and Friday. We'll have to keep an eye on that as well. But the freezing rain potential is definitely going to be there at this point. But that hopefully answers the question about the drizzle, because the drizzle is not getting picked up by most of your computer model guidance along with the radar, because it's occurring so low in the atmosphere. It's crazy. So Yeah, the guy that's just having a hard time with the temperatures in the cold air. A couple of degrees can make a difference between a drizzle, a freezing drizzle, and a cold rain at this time here. Sarah, thank you so much for that as well. What I'm thinking about doing, and there's a man that currently steady rain down there in Union County.
Now, I want to stress the heavy rain in Union County.
Yeah.
It's now 30. Eldorado just came in at 31 degrees in the last hour.
Okay, so that's freezing rain.
So it's freezing
that's
rain
freezing
right
rain.
now.
That's heavy freezing rain down there in El Dorado at this point. So
now we have, something that has kind of been forgotten about.
The flood watch down there.
So in the midst of everything going on right now, we actually have a flood watch in South Arkansas for 2 to 4 inches of rain.
Yep.
And the main event for that is going to be starting tomorrow into Thursday as the main system pulls through. Once again, that's been the one thing that's been kind of forgotten about throughout this whole year. We've been talking winter weather, and totally it's kind of been a forgotten aspect of this event is the main system comes through. You're going to have heavy rainfall across the southern half of the state, areas that have already seen flooding throughout much of the last couple of months already. Hard to believe, in November we were in a moderate drought.
Yeah.
And now here we are at the end of January, early February, and we're going to be talking about flooding and winter weather, stuff like that. Now, the old saying is, what happens on the first of the month happens 15 days out of the month. Tomorrow's the first of February,
so
and we're going to talk about freezing rain and sleet.
Goodness.
Now, that being said, if say dry all day tomorrow, great. That means we have 15 dry days. But again, it's becoming curious to see how that old adage adds up as we go throughout the month of February, especially the latter half of the month, which I'm already watching for yet another cold shot coming down out of Canada.
Yep.
But once again, as we talked about, we're going to be here throughout this event. We're not going anywhere. The biggest thing is don't travel unless you absolutely have to. Temps are currently sitting in the 20s.
Yeah, we're at 28 here.
20s to around 30. They will be getting colder. Tonight, lows in the teens to 20s across the state.
Yep.
Tomorrow, northeast wind and cloud cover. We won't warm up much. Maybe South Arkansas gets above freezing. Central and north, upper 20s to low 30s across the state.
I was going to say, matter of fact, to counter that, you were talking about tomorrow, correct? With the ice storm warning and stuff down there, I think National Weather Service is probably thinking they may not even get above freezing down there tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm thinking the HR may be running a little bit too warm, especially for our folks down there in South Arkansas. So we'll have to wait and see. This is the wrap model, by the way. And this is what it's wanting to do. This is during the day on Thursday, by the way. And it does transition over to rainfall once you get into the afternoon hours, but
again, even
we'll
that
see.
is 33, 34, 35 degrees. So
we'll see what ends up happening with that. But you can see there's that. Let's see if there's a new run with this. So let's take this back. Let's take it out to this one. This is your new run. And this is what it wants to do. Okay, so there's your ice, by the way, first thing tomorrow morning down there in South Arkansas. So you have to watch that. And then what ends up happening, by the time we get towards that rush hour, there it is. There it is. As you get towards your rush hour here, there's all that freezing rain across central Arkansas, and then there's an even bigger bulk of precipitation coming out of northern Texas. That will end its way into Thursday. So we are not done with this. Faith, I love your question. No, your comment, by the way. You got me from West Tennessee back to central Arkansas safely with our timing. I really do appreciate that. I'm really glad you made it back home safely. That's what we do. If you don't get your questions answered on live streams or any of the posts, feel free to contact us. Feel free to message us. That's one of the best ways you can get in contact with us directly. Even then, it's still hectic, but we try to get to you guys as quickly as we can. So we really do. We're really glad that you were able to make it back home safely here. So let me see here. Cameron also wanted to add that Parker's Chapel and El Dorado are closed tomorrow. I'm glad. I think it's Jim Tucker that's still the superintendent down there in El Dorado. I'm glad he made the decision to close the schools down there because you guys are going to need it down there in South Arkansas, especially tomorrow morning. So let me see here. Ice is already showing up on the trees and the power lines in southeastern Arkansas. Boy, we nailed southern Arkansas. We talked about that over the last week or so, that there was a potential on the table here. So Morgan, love that as well. Thank y'all so much for the compliments. I think that's all we have right now. Are you seeing any other new information or anything like that? I think we're good. The biggest thing, guys, like we mentioned before, we're stressing right now. If you don't have to be on the roadways, don't be on the roadways. our first responders, our electricians, energy, RDOT. Y'all are doing an amazing job. Keep up the great work. We really do appreciate y'all for being here and keeping us safe on the roadways and keeping our power grids up and running. But that's all I got for you guys right now. Derek, you have anything?
No, the biggest thing is, just continue to follow us. We have our group as well.
Yep.
A link is in the comments where you can share photos, and we'll it gets a lot easier to answer questions in there, because when things get going on all the posts on the page, we see questions there, because you can post directly to the group, and we can see comments, and our moderators, even our forecasters, can comment on that almost immediately.
Yep.
So we have our group. Go to it. It's join. It's free to join. Everything we do is free. Always will be free. If you have a Discord, we have automated watches and warnings on there.
Yeah.
And then once again, as I said, we will be live again tomorrow. Most likely be live again on Thursday, talking about the wrap up of this event. And again, as we get into the day on Friday, we'll start looking ahead towards what could be a different type of active week next week. I'm not going to talk about that yet, but Cameron's going to shoot me to being the messenger for the possibility of a warm up, followed by a cold front coming through. So, but we'll talk about that as we get into next week. More rainfall at the minimum next week with a lot warmer air. So get through this week. Next week looks a lot warmer, much more like spring.
Look, buddy, my hairline's already receding.
I know.
I don't need any more.
Any updates on the forecast? We'll let you know. Stay tuned throughout the night for all of the newest information right here in your source
for all things Arkansas weather.